Welcome to Global Digest on ADBN TV, live across Abuja, Lagos, and beyond. I am Amma Marcus. Today, we turn our attention to Africa's grand blueprint for transformation. We're talking about the African Union's Agenda 2063. It's a vision that promises a prosperous, integrated, and peaceful continent, and it's driven by its own citizen, playing a dynamic role on the world stage. More than a decade since its launch, where do we stand? What progress has been made? And what challenges remain? Well, to help us unpack these specifications, I'm joined by the chairman of the AU Agenda 2063 Agenda Committee. He is also the special envoy to the African Union for the United World Congress of Diplomats. He's none other than Ambassador Stephen Ben Joel. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's nice having you and viewers out there. Good afternoon and good evening, good morning, wherever you're listening from. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So let's talk about Agenda 2063. Well, it's often described as Africa's blueprint for transformation. In simple terms, how would you explain what the agenda means for everyday African citizens?
Yeah, when we talk about Agenda 2063, it sounds like a major puzzle to a lot of people. It sounds like some rocket science to quite a number of persons, but it's simple. Agenda 2063, to being explained to a commoner, an average African, is just simply put together means a better quality of life for young people, modern infrastructure, affordable housing, peace of mind. Let's put it in this form. An average Nigerian, I was in Accra some weeks back and we had some conversation around this. I've been around some parts of the continent, and in fact I was surprised to know that the word Japa is not just a Nigerian term, it's everywhere. Okay. An average African wants to Japa. So Agenda 2063 basically is a blueprint to make Africa a superpower where every African will not be thinking of jackpotting. Every African will see it as well. We can have affordable housing, we can have real health care facilities, we can have sustainable income and everything you need. Why are we running away from the continent, from our countries? It's because we want better life, greener pastures somewhere. But in this context, Agenda 2063 is that master plan, that master blueprint where all Africa will be developed by Africans for Africans, and it will become a superpower on its own where we will not play second fiddle to other continents. I think that's what the agenda is in a nutshell.
Okay. We're more than a decade into its implementation. Now, I'll have to ask, what are the challenges that you faced so far? And also, what concrete progress have you made?
Well, if we should look at it very critically, we'll find out that we have made quite some progresses. If you remember, during the COVID-19, you understand, Africa was counted to be they said the continent that would be worst hit, but of course we're able to set up the Center for Disease Control, which of course will have the African Medicine Association and some of those things, that Center for Disease Control. Some of those things came up and handily Africa was able to curb quite a number of things. You see that Senegal was able to produce drugs. COVID testing kit that was just about $1 each. In 10 minutes, it will give you the full, using just your semen. That was groundbreaking. We had things from the Gambia, as small as the Gambia, where they were able to bring out some initiative to curb. You were able to raise a lot of funds in the hundreds of thousands of dollars to provide food, and it was contained in Nigeria. We saw when it was coming how it was also stopped. Africa indeed proved to the world that we are not as weak as they think. And if you should look at the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, I think we've made some major progresses in that area. In my phone here, I have the reporting app from the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which can help shorten if I talk about the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, it has to do with one big marketplace for the entire continent. We are over 1 billion people in the continent. So a lot of progress has been made. Maybe in the course of this interview or this discussion, we're going to be looking at some little statistics. If I can, we're in the internet age, I may just show us one or two things, because my brain may not be able to put all those statistics together, but I may just read out one or two progresses that we have made as a continent. So that aspect, and the Center for Disease Control, and from the Ambassador Assembly where I represent, we've made quite a lot of progresses, but also bringing in quite some foreign direct investment to some countries, which I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Okay, so it's interesting you mentioned the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is one of the agenda's biggest flagship projects. But now I have to ask, how is it changing the way Africans are trading with each other? And could you give us some early results that has originated from this?
Yes, some early results have originated from the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. For example, now we're not just talking about theory right now. We have about 55 countries in Africa. 54 have already onboarded completely, except Eritrea that has not completely onboarded. We've had real progresses of trade. Let me see. Just please, I want to see something here. Let me see. Okay, let me see if I can just reel down some things, some progresses that has taken place. The creation of a single market. Of course, the Continental Free Trade Area has been able to achieve that, reduced a lot of import quota, as we can find. We have progressive tariff liberalization. The African Continental Free Trade Area involves a phased approach to tariff reduction with different timelines. There's something I wanted to just let me see to help us see the progress that has been made. For example, the app I just told you about, that has been created. You know, we've had some red tape, bureaucratic bottleneck within the continent. You can see this is the app. With this right now, you will be able to report straight, and what would have taken you 1 month will take you just about 1 hour. Your issues are resolved almost immediately. Disputes are settled. So the Continental Free Trade Area has really taken a lot of advantage of digitization to solve a lot of things. There's a digital trade right now through the Continental Free Trade Agreement. As I said, just in 2025, it has been budgeted for trade to go beyond about $8 billion, for example, $8 billion. And as it is right now, through this app and other financial tools that has been developed by the continent. Right now, our transactions to a large extent is no longer dollarized. You know, countries can trade with themselves, because that's actually the idea of the African Continental Free Trade Area, so that we can take real advantage of our population, of our vast resources. If you travel, you see Europeans, Americans, Asians trooping in their hundreds and thousands into the continent. so much wealth, so much resources. But within us here, we have not been able to harness that completely. Rather, we have become a place where our natural resources are exported and they still import finished products to us. But the continental free trade area now we've been able to attract quite a lot of investors. Like I told you, we just were able to attract some investors into Accra to set up a sugar refinery. A sugar refinery reached about $220 million investment, and that alone in itself is huge. It's bringing in no less than 5,000 workforce, direct labor and indirect labor within it. I'm just talking about what we have been able to do from the Ambassadorial Assembly and some of the diplomatic organizations I represent. The continental free trade area is not, some people when they hear, they just think it's government. No, we are trying to make the private sector understand that things are working, transactions are taking place, a lot is already happening, progresses have been made across the continent, which people must do everything they can to connect. The best continent to trade in as we stand is Africa.
All right, that's really great to hear. But most businesses are complaining about non-tariff barriers, poor border infrastructure, and red tape, like you mentioned. So how is AU addressing these practical obstacles so that the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement delivers real benefits?
Please come again.
Like I said, we mentioned businesses, and of course, some of the challenges they experience is non-tariff barriers, poor border infrastructure, and like you mentioned, red tape bureaucracy in some areas. So now I'm asking, how is the AU addressing these practical obstacles so that the Africa Free Trade Continental Agreement can deliver real benefits?
Yes, I think I went ahead of you to answer some of these questions. Part of it is digitizing the process to see that, of course, right now, double tariffing has been taken off mostly right now. I can tell you the truth, the continent has done quite well, and the mediation from the African Union is quite legendary to see that governments, member states comply, because of course it's member states that signed you understand the agreement to come in. So if you make it difficult for people to come into your territory, you won't make money, because it's about a win-win agreement for everybody. So advocacy is taking place. From the Ambassadorial Assembly, we're busy having call meetings, saying that we're able to get the various parties to comply, to this. Because see, you must keep advocating, you must keep engaging, you must keep having diplomatic discussions with the various parties involved to see that that compliant level is there. Because in this case, it's like someone saying that, see, if I refuse to do this, I'm shooting myself. You understand? So no country wants to live below their budget. No country wants to underperform. As a matter of fact, where we are coming to right now is where we will put a lot of countries on their toes. Like, for example, if you go to Uganda and you go to Rwanda, that they're all neighbors, you see the difference, and you can see Ugandans working very hard so that the standard of living there should be measurable to Rwanda, for example. So we're coming to that point where no country will want their neighboring countries to be looked upon as they're superior to them. So every country is working hard to see that they are able to live up to the tenets of the Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Okay, so let's head back to the Agenda 2063. Well, at the heart of this agenda is there are a couple of projects: cross-border railways, rail networks, and the energy projects. Can you tell us some infrastructure landmark projects that are already transforming these regions?
Yes, infrastructure projects transforming the region. I think one of it is the Addis Ababa Djibouti Railway station that is legendary in itself, the Abidjan-Lagos Corridor Highway, which is already boosting trade across the western coast of the continent. Of course, we have the Inga Tree hydropower project in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. If I pray so much peace should come towards that region, because that has the potential to lighten the entire continent. One of the blessings of Africa is that we are one of the most peaceful continents. When I say peaceful now, I'm talking about in terms of no natural disaster. The continent is quite peaceful, no natural disaster. So you can imagine a dam project that can almost light up the entire continent. You understand? All of these things are already going on. Like I told you earlier, that's why I told you that, for example, we have what we call the Hunger-Free Africa. Hunger-Free Africa project is a project where each country will have no less than 10,000 hectares of land devoted to agriculture, maybe rice plant, rice farm, not just rice farm, other plantation. We put together farmers in hubs, and we've started in some countries already. We are about to sign an MOU with the Swatini government. We just finished the meeting with the Ministry of Agriculture, Ghana, last 3 weeks. We'll be back also to sign up. So with that, you can see that we are making major progress to seeing that the continent is self-reliant. The infrastructures because some of these agricultural projects I'm talking about we're giving major tractors to not less than 5,000 farmers and giving them funding, building major silos that can help to store so much food produce, grains that will keep the continent safe. Food security will be assured, and indeed will ensure we will achieve the hunger-free status.
Okay, it's interesting you spoke about the hunger-free status. It's something we're going to come to in a little bit. We are still watching Global Digest on ADBN. We are talking about the AU's Agenda 2063 and, of course, what it means for the ordinary African. Well, we take a break at this moment, and we will return with more reports and more discussions on this. Do stay with us.
Now here's some exciting news. ADBN is everywhere you are. Stay connected with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news updates, captivating stories, and more. Join the ADBN community today via our various platforms on Avo TV app, ADBN channel 121, Niger TV app, ADBN TV, Limex World TV app, ADBN TV. Get the latest news straight to your phone. Join our WhatsApp channel. Just search for ADBN TV and hit the follow button. Turn on your notification to stay updated and never miss any part of the experience. Stay in the conversation with us across our social media handles on X at ADBN_TV, Instagram at ADBN_TV, Facebook ADBN TV, YouTube ADBN TV_NG, and keep visiting our website on www.adbntv.com. Watch us live anytime, anywhere. ADBN TV, a part of you.
The overall function of the Parliament is adequate representation of their constituents in state echoes to federation.
Removal of fuel subsidy, resources to critical sectors such as education and health. A call to unity and progress of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
NAS Unplugged is a program that will highlight topical issues from both chambers of the National Assembly, from bills, motions, and constituency projects.
Guys have it.
Catch the program on ADBN TV, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays as we bring you activities of the National Assembly as it affects the people.
During the flood disaster in Maiduguri and its environs.
For increase in the number of judges in the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
The eye serving.
NAS Unplugged, Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 8 p.m.
Do you know what gamalin 20 is? It is a dangerous chemical pesticide never meant for human consumption. Sadly, some fishermen illegally use gamalin 20 to catch fish, poisoning not just the water, but the food on your plate. Here's how to spot fish caught with gamalin 20. Fish that look unusually fresh but stiff. A strange chemical smell, sometimes like kerosene, when cooked. Pale or bleached gills, peeling scales, or sunken eyes. Eating such fish can cause nausea, vomiting, and even damage your liver and kidneys. In severe cases, it can lead to life-threatening health complications. Remember, using gamalin 20 for fishing is a crime. It harms people, rivers, and marine life. Protect your health. Buy fish only from trusted sellers. Report suspicious fishing practices to the authorities. Together, let's keep our waters safe and our meals healthy.
Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. You're watching Global Digest on ADBN. We are still having the conversation around the AU Agenda 2063, and we are still here with Ambassador Stephen Benjol. Thank you so much for still staying.
Thank you.
All right, so before we went on the break, we spoke about ending hunger. Well, one of the aspirations of Agenda 2063 is to end hunger by this 2025. Yeah. Well, many African countries are still food insecure. So how would you explain this gap, and how is AU re-strategizing to fill this need?
Yes, let me speak from what we are doing specifically. Of course, like I explained, the African Union as a whole is working assiduously to see that Africa is truly free, because the target is by the end of 2025. But obviously, the percentage of complete achievement for that will be subject to several debates, because obviously we have not reached that threshold where Africa will be completely end hunger or hunger free. But we have made notable progress. For example, like what I said before the break, the hunger free initiative that we are already doing, we are signing memorandum of understanding with government, bringing in investors with the backing of African Development Banks and other international financial consortiums, you understand, to see that our farmers have improved seedlings, they have tractors and other machineries that can help them farm, and of course the greenhouse agriculture. We're busy advocating education, sending what we call agricultural educators to communities, to homes, using different methods to help them understand that, see, from your back door you can have, these days you can have certain farm produce that can last you the entire year. And of course, with the greenhouse farming, it's no longer dependent, of course, on rainy season. Let's not forget that climate change is affecting a lot of things. Climate change is affecting a lot of things. So our weather, our seasons are no longer the way they were. If you look at our oceans, our rivers, they are no longer. Formerly, when I was growing up, I understand how you go through River Niger, River Benue, it's always filled up. But right now, you pass through some of those places, it's dried, then there's this irregularity as a whole. So we're using that education to also see how that can be stopped. And our hunger-free initiative is very beautiful. I need to explain this because what we do is that we get farmers in clusters. I haven't signed with the government of the several countries we're dealing with. Farmers are gotten in clusters of 500. Then what they do is that they are giving all the improved seedlings, they're giving mechanized equipment, and they are educated, and they're giving some funds, you understand, to farm. But the good thing is that at harvest, they don't pay with cash. They pay back with their farm produce, foodstuff. So this is a simplified way of saying, see, let's buy back. You understand? So the hassle of how to store, how to transport is taking off. You understand? Working with the governments, making sure that they also make sure that the road network to moving those things, you understand, have been done properly. So what is happening is that for many of them is great prosperity. There will be so much food for them. They won't be going through all the heck, because most farmers, the real problem is that most of their produce don't even get to the final consumers. It gets bad. So their efforts, their labor are wasted. We're saying, no, these narratives can be changed because we are heavy on import. I was speaking with a government yesterday, and let me not just call the country, and they said they were already in final talks with Thailand for rice production. And I told them there's no need. You understand? I saluted the Minister of Agriculture for Ghana the other time. They came to Zamfara, to Gusau. They came there to come and learn how the rice farm takes place there, and to collaborate. And that's what we're talking about the Agenda 2063, where Africa will be developed by Africans. And I told them, I said, see, we can bring that solution for them. And they said, see, we have all the lands, we have them in the thousands, and we'll graciously get into the partnership. So you can imagine, by doing that, that heavy importation that is taking place, you understand, from other countries, you understand, will no longer be there. And that will be improved lifestyle, improved living, GDP will be better, people's disposable income will be there, the country will have much money to do real sector development. For everybody.
Ambassador Benjo, it's very good to have you here in the studio, and of course, unfortunately, we're almost running out of time. But before I let you go, some people are arguing that Agenda 2063 is long on vision, but short on delivery. So you've mentioned a couple of countries like Ghana and other countries that you're working with. So what mechanisms are in place to hold these member states accountable to their commitments?
Yes, the Agenda 2063 Ambassador Assembly, is formed to fulfill the aspiration of AU ECOSOC, where we deal with civil societies, we deal with technocrats, market men, women, business people. And of course, if you go to our website, you'll see that we have where we rate countries, we encourage, we rate countries, we are like the watchdog of development within the continent. We, just like Budget IT is trying to check the budgets of, we're trying to see how compliant countries are to Agenda 2063. So we are that's why what we do, for example, on the 16th of October, we have a major award event that is coming up at the Nikon Luxury in Abuja here. And it's we are rewarding companies, organizations, individuals that are promoting agricultural advancement. It's been carried out by the Agricultural and Rural Economic Committee, for example. That's one of the ways, through reward system, we're able to tell you that, we see what you're doing, keep it up, you understand? And we measure, real-time measure. We have a situation room where we get we get what is happening from different parts, you understand, and we take that, we're advocating through the legislative arms that there should be Agenda 2063 departments where, from the budget and planning, so that every budget must be compliant with Agenda 2063. And I can tell you the truth, from what we are doing, I'm very optimistic that by 2063, this will be fulfilled. And let's not forget that we have a continent that is, we have the youngest continent. We have developed a portal, an app, that is called the Shield Bearers Project, where from nursery school to the university, they can learn about Agenda 2063. The reason is because this time, we do not want this agenda to just be a talk and talk thing. We are following it up with real action. For many of us, this has become our single most important assignment. That's why it's taking us to different countries. It's like 2 weeks from now, we'll be in Addis Ababa to talk about, that's the African Climate Conference. You understand, to talk about, to see how we can improve a lot, because we are the worst hit when it comes to the climate change. You understand? Even though we don't emit some of the worst things, but we're the worst hit. You understand? So how do we adjust our lifestyle? How do we improve on some things? How do we gain back the strength of our continent? You understand? So we are not taking the matter of Agenda 2063. And let me just say this, please, even as we round up. I was in a meeting with a big organization. I won't mention their name because we're on air. And I was amazed that they were hearing Agenda 2063 for the first time.
Wow.
You understand? Almost everybody talks about SDG goals because in most of our government, that's where UN fundings and some of those things come from. I can say it plainly that we are one of the major bodies, you understand, that have been able to popularize Agenda 2063. And we're making progress. It would not just be it's a white or a white elephant project. It is definitely going to be achieved by the special grace of God.
Okay. Ambassador Benjo, it's been an insightful conversation with you. We appreciate you for coming. And of course, we will be on track to make sure we see how far Agenda 2063 goes on the journey. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, as you have heard today, Agenda 2063 is not just a policy document. It's a promise of a better Africa for future generations. And as you've heard, they have been both remarkable achievements and areas that need much work. For the coming years will be critical in translating vision into tangible results that touch the daily lives of Africans. But we will continue to track these developments closely here on Global Digest. You're still watching Global Digest. In more reports to come, Ukraine Zelensky is accusing Russia of cynical strikes. It's ahead of Trump talks. Details on more will come after this break. Just stay with us.